crafty friends, this is the Paper Chef here. In today's tutorial, I'm going to share with you some of my best productivity tips. We're going to create this doggy bookmark, Keep Calm and Wag On. I'm going to show you start to finish how I cut out the pieces for the bookmark, how I punch them, how I use a stamping mask to color them, and then even how I added some glitter to the doggy, as you can see with the Wink of Stella, and how I added the topper for the bookmark. Okay, to stamp this bookmark, I'm going to be sharing tips on the Stamparatus tool, which is in our annual catalog by Stampin Up. Okay, the stamp set we'll be using for this tutorial is called Happy Tales. Happy Tales is part of our occasions catalog. Okay, here's the stamp set. So just so you have a big picture overview of what we're going to be doing, first thing I'm going to do is take cardstock and cut out the bookmarks. Then I'm going to show you how to take these stamps out of this set, mount them onto the Stamparatus, and we're going to stamp all the bookmarks that we cut out. We're going to cut out 6 of them. Let me just focus that. I'm using very vanilla cardstock. And when I send out catalogs, I usually give samples with the catalog. So this is why I'm mass producing, and that's why I'm sharing my productivity tip, because I'm in the middle of this project where I'm mailing out catalogs. So if you would like one, please use the contact form below. Okay, let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. This is the page in the occasions catalog where the Happy Tales stamp set can be found, and it comes with a matching dog builder punch, which we will be using. Okay, clearing the deck for our ScanNCut. Now, if you don't have a ScanNCut and you're just tuning in, you might be saying, well, I don't have a ScanNCut. How can I do this? You just use a paper trimmer. Go back to the way we all did it before we all got these electronic gizmos. Okay, so use a paper trimmer, and you're going to see my dimensions, so that's what you're going to do. Okay, when you turn on your ScanNCut, let's just focus my camera so you can see that really well. You're going to see the options of pattern and scan. Okay, we're going to select pattern, and we're going to select the shapes here. And one of my viewers said, why don't you just Velcro your stylus to the machine so you don't keep losing it? I didn't lose my stylus this time. Okay, I'm using my stylus, and I'm just going to go into the shapes, and I'm going to select the first shape, which is a square, and I'm going to turn it into a rectangle. The way I'm going to do that is by taking this button here, and I'm not going to keep, if I don't, let me just show you if I don't touch this button. When I change the width, the height changes because I have a square. But I want to make a rectangle, so I'm going to uncheck this button, or actually select this button. Okay, and now the height and the width will not stay in proportion to each other. So I can change the height to 2 inches, which is what you're going to do with your paper trimmer, right? If you don't have a Brother ScanNCut, you can do everything in this tutorial. I'm just showing you my productivity tools, so that's why I'm using the ScanNCut. Many of my viewers have one. Okay, the height is going to be 2, and the width is going to be 5 for the exact bookmark that we're creating. And it can be used as a tag, a Valentine's treat topper, a bookmark, or whatever you want to use it for. Just hand them out, and people get very happy when you give them gifts like this. Okay, we have 2 by 5, and we're going to put 6 of them onto the, not 7, 6 onto the 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. So go ahead and say set. Now, here's the cardstock we're using. It's by Stampin Up. I love our high quality cardstock. It's called Very Vanilla. I think it went really well with the crumb cake ink and the soft suede ink. It went very well with the doggies because it's not stark white. It's kind of more masculine. So that's why I'm using the Very Vanilla. Okay, we're going to take the ScanNCut mat. It's a pretty new mat, but you can see it's already starting to get dirty. I'm going to take off the protective covering, and I'm going to put the piece of Very Vanilla onto my mat. Now, I've shown you, if you've been subscribing to my channel, ways to get the paper to stick to the mat. But I don't have to use any of those tricks right now with painter's tape or anything, because my mat is like, I've only used it a couple times. It's pretty new. By the way, I think I'm on mat 18 or 19 now. It's kind of ridiculous how often I have to buy these mats. Okay, there's the Very Vanilla, and it's on the Brother ScanNCut mat. I'm going to open the mat. I'm going to load using this button here, and I'm going to hold one hand on the top of the mat while I load so that the mat doesn't slip. All right, it went in nicely. I think so. Nope, it didn't go in nicely. That's okay. We just keep on going. We're going to load again. And this time I'm looking down. Okay, it went in straight. No, it didn't. I don't know why it's saying it can't be recognized. Be sure to never cover up your registration mark. Hey, third time's a charm, it was recognized. All right, and the last thing I want to tell you is the blade depth. Because this is regular cardstock, it's you know, it's good cardstock, it's very vanilla. I'm going to use like about, here, I'll just go with a 5, should work. Okay, on regular Stampin' Up cardstock. Blade depth of 5, I'm using a standard blade. And I'll have all of my dimensions, materials I used, everything in the description of this video. So if you get lost, just read the description and you'll know the dimensions of my bookmarks, how many can fit on a page. You can't fit 8 on a page, you can fit 6. If you want to use up this spot, you still have some more room because the paper is 8.5 by 11. You could make some strips here to use for sentiments. But we're not doing that right now because we're making bookmarks. Okay, so we just said okay, and now we're cutting. And now we're just going to say start. And even though I didn't need to, I usually give my mat a little rub so that nothing falls out of place. All right, so while that's getting ready, I'll tell you about the colors that we're using for this project. We're going to stamp in soft suede. We're going to color the doggies in crumb cake. Okay. I'll mention that again when it's not so loud. I'm using some older style stamp pads because that's what I have. So use whatever craft materials you have. So if you're watching this right now, you don't have a Brother ScanNCut, use your paper trimmer. If you don't have soft suede by Stampin' Up, use some brown ink, you know, but you still want to get the stamp set because that's the whole point of this, is how cute the stamp set is, and wait till you see all the cute sentiments that come with it. All right, so finish cutting, we say okay. Finish cutting, okay, and we just unload the mat. Now, for this part of this, or for this tutorial, I'm done with the Brother ScanNCut, although I'm going to refer to some other things I did using the ScanNCut, but we're done with the ScanNCut for now. So we're going to peel off the very vanilla piece, and see how I said you can either make more bookmarks or tags out of the bottom of this paper. Never throw out your cardstock. Okay, to get the bookmarks off the mat, the mats are not very sticky, so they'll just come right off. You can use a spatula or just, you know, bend the mat a little and your bookmarks will come off. So here we are. We have our bookmarks, and let's just focus so it's not so bright. Now, let me grab I could have used, you know, the Brother ScanNCut to make the tops of these, but you know what? It's a lot quicker and easier to use my scalloped, you know, Tag Topper Scalloped punch. This thing's indestructible. I've been using it for years. So you just put your bookmark in there that's 2 inches, and there's your topper. So here we are. We punch all those. It's a lot quicker than ScanNCut, and when it comes to little tiny shapes, I mean, this is super accurate. And because we used the 2 inch by 5 inch, I mean, look how it fits right in there to the punch. And if you're not like really strong to be able to hold it up, or you might have arthritis or something, you can put the punch down. In fact, I'm going to actually turn my camera angle down now. I didn't need to have it up anymore because we're done with the ScanNCut. We're going to just see my shadow, me and my shadow. All right, I have fun when I'm crafting. Okay, here we go. So there you go. You can just do this. See, so if you're not strong enough to just like hold it up in the air and punch, then feel free to put the punch down and press down. Oops, I didn't need to do that again. But even though, oh boy, I messed that one up. All right, so we're making 5 bookmarks because Kim was not looking. All right, so here we are. Okay, now, what's next is setting up your Stamparatus. So remember I said don't throw away that paper. Okay, so I'm going to actually turn this angle down a little more. And it's kind of bright, but that's okay. I have to reach over. So because I don't throw away this paper because I use it as a guide. So let's put the bookmark. This is a Stamparatus tool. You may be familiar with stamp positioning tools, like you may have had a Misty or something. I'm on my 3rd or 4th stamp positioning tool. I think I have one from Fiscares. I have one from We Are Memory Keepers. I have the Misty, and then I got the Stamparatus by Stampin' Up. And I'm like, oh, how can it be different? Well, it's a lot different because of these hinges. And I mean, and you can actually have a lot of plates. You can lift these hinges off, have one design going on, turn it over, have another design, or another part of your design, and then you can snap this in place. I mean, the positioning is amazing, and I even bought 2 extra plates, so I have 4 plates. I have loads of projects going at one time. Super productive, I mean. So I'm so happy with this tool. Okay, so I'm laying my bookmark in here, okay, into the guide, because that's my guide from my Brother ScanNCut. So now it'll always stay in the same spot. Okay, so how to use your Stamparatus. We want the stamps to stick onto the top of the acrylic plastic. Okay, the idea is we're going to stamp and we're going to push down and it's going to be the same image every time. So let's lay out our design. Now first, I look at the design I've already come up with. So let's lay that here so you see where I'm going with this. And we open up the set, Happy Tails again, Happy Tails, and we start laying out the set. So we have a dog. So we peel our dog off. Don't worry that your stamps get stained, no big deal. The dog's gonna go at the bottom, and it's a 2-inch bookmark and he fits perfectly. His little tail doesn't stick off the edge, no problem. Okay, then we're gonna have Keep Calm and Wag On. Okay, so there's Keep Calm and Wag On. We're gonna put that right there and it kind of goes down next to him a little bit. And then we put the little doggy bone. Where's the doggy bone? Okay, we'll put the little doggy bone there. And then we have a heart. Oops, you have to always make sure the flat side of your stamp is up because this flat side's gonna stick onto the glass. Not the glass, the acrylic, because the Stamparatus is not glass, it's like acrylic plastic. And then we have a little heart, and there's a heart, there's a solid heart in the set, and there's like a open heart. I'm using an open heart because I'm coloring it in with my glitter pen. And then we have a cute little paw. Okay, so that's my design, and you could do whatever design you want, but this just leaves you like endless possibilities, this stamp set. And put the paw up there. Okay, and let's see if the angle of my bone is good. Okay, so I've laid out my stamps. Voila. Now I'm gonna lower the Stamparatus lid, and I'm gonna just press. And by the way, you have, and let me get rid of this magnet too, because I don't need this magnet right now. Okay, so I'm pressing down, and it doesn't matter that when I lift, the bookmark comes with it, because that's okay. See, it's okay, the bookmark comes with it, because it'll do that even after you stamp and you just peel it off, but you'll get a perfect stamp every time. All right, so then now I have my perfect layout and my stamp is positioned. Now, what you would use the other plate for, which we're not gonna do like this very moment. I mean, I guess we could. I could just show you how. Okay, we have little spots, and later on I'll show you some projects I made with the spots. So what you could do with the other hinge is like you could put the spots on your dog, lay down this hinge, put your spots up, and then every time the little spot goes, this is made perfectly for, here we go, right like that, see? There's a spot over the eye of the dog, and we could lower the other hinge and we'd have spots for our dog. I'll show you what the spots look like later, but for this bookmark I'm sending to my crafty friends along with their catalogs, they're not gonna get the spots on the bookmark because I just didn't do it that way. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna show you how to ink it up and everything. So now, you lift up your Stamparatus. I'm gonna put this down. Now I think it's a good idea to put down some grid paper. When I work with ink, because I don't want any ink to splatter around, so I'm just putting some grid paper under there. Alrighty, this is what we're going for. So we're using, and I said this during when the machine was going and it was loud, I said we're using soft suede and crumb cake. And that use whatever you have, I said. I'm using old stamp pads. It doesn't really matter, they still work. And you can even get re-inkers for them. We do have new formulas of ink, and we have new stamp pads, which are great. And so, when I run out, I'll get the stamp pad next. But for now, I'm using what I have. Okay. So this is the Stamparatus. I'm just tapping until I get good coverage. You know you have good coverage when you can sort of like see a shine on all your images. And I can see a nice shine. Okay. So now we can just lay the bookmark into our guide. It just slipped, but that's okay. And you could use like the magnet now to hold down your paper if you wanted, or your cardstock. But I'm just putting, I don't think I need to. I'm okay. And I'm just going to I'm just going to lower this down. Let me show you exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to press. Okay? And don't worry when you lift it up that your bookmark sticks to it. That always happens. And there we have a perfect stamp. Okay? And the first time you stamp, sometimes it's a little bit lighter, but then the next time it just keeps getting darker. All right, good. Happy with that? Now let's keep going. I have 5 of these to do. I would have had 6 if I didn't mess up one of my toppers when I was talking and not looking. So we ink it up. And, whether your friends have dogs or not, who doesn't like the saying, keep calm and wag on? It's just fun for anyone. So I have a friend whose husband had a stroke, and I'm making a lot of doggy treats because he's in a rehab center and there's some therapy dogs there plus their own dog, and dogs love the treats and then people relate to the dogs, and because it's a hard time for them right now, I'm like, you know, keep calm and wag on, just to kind of give them some strength during this hard time while he learns to, you know, use his voice property again. Okay, so there's number 3. And we're going to keep calm and wag on as we stamp the last 2 of these. But I mean, I'm actually not even going to clean this off. I mean, I'm going to use it again after I'm done the video. I'll probably just cut out 20 more, you know? Okay, you can see what I'm doing. And I'll just go ahead and make them while I'm at it. I mean, why not? Because when you have your Stamparatus set up, you know, you don't have to take it apart. You just clean it off, and then you can just keep stamping until you're done your project. You'll get the same results every time. You'll get perfect stamped images with even coverage. When you use a stamping block, things wiggle. And, well, you know, if you've used stamping blocks. But if that's all you have, go ahead and use your stamping block. This is what I mean. If this is all you have, mount the stamps onto a stamping block and use them. But the Stamparatus saves you from all that. I mean, that's what's really cool about this. This is like a productivity tool, and I'm totally hooked on it. Not that I'm ever getting rid of my, you know, Misty, because it's already an investment, and I like my We Are Memory Keepers one, or Tim Holtz one, or whatever that's called. I like my one from Fisker. I mean, I have them all full. I love using them. I just kind of keep them ready for the projects. But this Stamparatus is like top notch because of these hinged windows that I can like flip around and have lots of projects going. All right, so we're done. Now I'm done with pretty much done with this one. I'm done with the soft suede. Now I'm going to use crumb cake. So if you've been watching my tutorials, you will know that I showed you how to create a stamping mask. Okay, so let me just grab that. I got to put this out of the way. And here's my stamping mask. Okay, what we did is we used the Brother ScanNCut, and we learned how to cut out a stamped image, and we just used the silhouette, and we did not put an outline distance around the dog. Instead, we made a stamping mask that is exactly the border of the dog. Okay, so we did that in a different video. I'll link to that video so you can see how to create a stamping mask. So now we're going to use the stamping mask. I showed you in that video how to use the stamping mask, but now you're getting to see it again and how I use it to make all these cute little bookmarks. And we're going to use for that crumb cake. And what I like about the old stamping pads is you can squeeze them. Okay, and when you squeeze them, little ink gets on the lid. And how cool is that? Because then I can use that to sponge color my doggy. Okay, so here's my sponge. I'll link to the brand of sponge. This is not a Stampin' Up product, by the way. Even though I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator, I use a lot of products that are in my arsenal that I've been using for years before I ever became a Stampin' Up demonstrator. So I will definitely share some of my really cool tools. And this is pretty cheap, these sponges. Okay, so I'm using crumb cake on Very Vanilla, and I just rubbed on the lid, I got the ink, and I stamp it. Okay, we'll do it a few more times to get the hang of it. But look at that beautiful coverage. Okay, it's beautiful. It didn't go outside the lines. I mean, if you were coloring with stamping markers, good grief, it would take a while. Even if you use the blends, which I have too. I love the blends. I have crumb cake blends. But if I was to use those crumb cake blends, I'll show you what I'm doing. Just circular motion on the lid, putting the mask on my doggy. You know, if I were to use the blends or the markers, it would take me a lot longer to color these in crumb cake. But I do like having my blends and markers because I can fix anything I mess up with the sponging using those. And I mean, different tools for different jobs. Oh, that one I got a lot of ink on, so this doggy's going to be a little darker. No big deal. And after, you can either blot it or you can like circular color it, but I like just blotting it. Oh, he's cool. Each dog's going to be a little different. And feel free to put spots on your dogs. I'm just sending plain dogs to my customers just because I think they can relate to that. This kind of dog, this dog here looks just like any dog. It looks like, you know, like a lab, or it looks like anybody's, maybe even my brother's dog. Okay, here we go. More ink, more sponging. Oops, even if your mask slips a little bit, it's no big deal. Even if you get a little bit of ink, you just put the mask back on. Okay, there's my mask. Third bookmark. And we have 4 and 5, so let's just, again, we're flipping the lid shut. We're squeezing. Oh, by the way, if you have the newer stamp pads, you can't flip the lid shut, so you just tap right onto the ink itself. Of course, it's going to be darker than when I use the lid, but hey, that's no big deal. And you can even, or you could like, what you could do is like take your stamping block and you could put some ink, let me just show you that. You could put some ink on it, and if you don't have a lid, and you could do that. And then you could like use that for your sponge. Okay, so there we are. And I do a lot of distressing on my projects, so that's what I also use these sponges for. In fact, I use them for like numerous amounts of craft projects. I mean, I wish I had time to show you all these things, but you know, hey, this is the project I'm working on tonight, so that's why I'm like, hey, I gotta stop and show it. And I like how that one came out really dark. And the last one is here. All right, so I even had some ink left over on the lid, and I had some on here if I need it. So we'll see how dark my doggy is. It doesn't need to be too dark. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that dog. All right, so now let's show you how I do the next part, which is the burlap ribbon, and then I use some linen thread. Okay, the burlap ribbon is part of our annual catalog by Stampin' Up. And you can order the annual catalogs on the website. They're kind of expensive for me to ship, but you can order them on the website. But I do send them like once a year, but not right now. All right, I'm only sending the occasions once. See, this is about, okay, let me show you how I measure my ribbon for bookmarks. I actually just take a stamp set and I just go like this. So I just go like about the diagonal of a stamp set. And that's about my length of a bookmark when I don't know how long that is, but that's about the length of ribbon I use. Okay, now, normally when I make a bookmark, let's find the best one to fully go through the steps with, because you get the idea of using a stamping mask. Okay, I think he's the best one right now okay, I'm just gonna show you. So when I make a bookmark, I usually like put the ribbon through and loop it. But in this case, let's put it that way. Now, I like it that way. Okay, in this case, I'm just gonna like loop it through, and then I'm gonna tie an extra piece of linen thread on it to hold it there. Because the burlap is so thick, you can't make a loop or it would be too bulky for the mail. Okay, so that's why I'm using, and I mean, I might even have to use, I think I am gonna use some other twine I have to get these to go through the mail without being so bulky. Okay, but he's cute, and let's find a little piece of linen thread, and I'm not sure if I think I might have bought this when I had the coffee suite a couple years ago, but it could be in my paper pumpkin kit. I have loads and loads of like paper pumpkin kits, and like I have all this extra twine from them, so I'm not sure where that twine came from, but I'll try to figure it out and put it in the description. It's called like linen thread or twine or something, and it's like a crumb cake color, so it's pretty cool. And you notice I didn't even measure it. I just sort of just cut a piece off because you can always trim it later. So what I do is I double knot this one. Okay, and I have some little, after I'm done making this bookmark, I have a couple other projects I'm going to show you, so please stick around. And I have a couple doggy valentines. There you go. So then what I do is I make that loop, and then I pull, and I cut off the edge, I make a little loop in there. I pull down the edges, and then there we go. Like I stick enough to get my finger in there, see? I get my fat little fingers in there, and then I go like that, and that's about a big of a loop that I need with my finger fitting in there. And then what I do is I sort of cut off the edge a little, and so now that's that part. So now I got the burlap to stay on there, pretty cute. But like I said, I think I'm going to be using like maybe some other twine I have like this to get them to go in the mail a little bit easier. But you get the idea, because right now I'm trying to show you all the exact way that I did this one. All right, so now we have what's called a Wink Estella. Wink Estella brush is pretty cool. It's a glitter pen. It's not by Stampin' Up. It's actually just something we sell in our catalog, and I'm not sure who makes it, but I have a few different colors of these, so I'll show you. So we're going to take the lid off the glitter brush. In fact, let me shake it up some, because it's actually almost time for a new glitter brush called Wink of Stella. And I like what I like about it is that it kind of makes it not just glittery, but sort of like 3D. Glitter all over the place. So let's show you that with the light, see? And it kind of dries like a little 3D. So all you do for that is just color your little doggy. And you might want to put like 2 layers of glitter on it to really make it shine and make it sort of 3D. You're just adding that extra touch. So we sell like the clear Wink of Stella at Stampin' Up, but I also am using the red one for this project, which I got either on Amazon or something, but I'm going to show you a link to it, or maybe I got it at Hobby Lobby. I mean, who knows? A craft store of some kind. I don't know where I got the red one, but look how cute that glitter is. And then what I do is I color in the glitter, I color in the bone as well, and it comes out sort of, oh, let me put that in better in the camera view. Okay, a couple little layers. When it dries, it'll be like 3D. Let me focus that. Okay, see what I mean? Okay, you can put a little glitter on the paw if you want. Let me go ahead and get the red one. Okay, it looks just like that one, and it's still called Wink of Stella. Be careful when you pull the lids off, because sometimes they come flying, the glitter comes flying out. And all I'm doing is coloring in. I just want to focus this for a second. Okay, I'm coloring in the red heart, because I just think, not just for Valentine's Day, but just gives it that little extra. I mean, the glitter heart is a little extra something special. And some of my crafty friends may have already got one of these in the mail. So if you did, now you can see exactly how I made this for you, and with love. See that? So there's our finished product. And as you can see, I'm going to be just going down the line and making loads of these after this video is done, because it's just easy. Let's put it on a background. Okay, so there's my productivity tip. Use the Brother ScanNCut to cut out your shapes. Punch holes in the top. Use the stamping mask to color them. Okay, use the stamping mask. Then just, after you're done coloring them, always put your topper on first, your ribbon, because you need to like make sure that you don't try to put that on after you color the heart, because you'll smear the glitter with this. So put your topper on, and then put your heart, and then color your heart and color your glitter dog. All right, so as promised, you've stuck with me this long, and I really thank you, crafty friends, for sticking with me this long on this productivity tutorial. Well, I want to show you now some Valentines for dogs. Well, I think they're Valentines for dogs, and I hope my friends like them. This is going to be part of the care package I sent to the rehabilitation center for my friends, because her husband had a stroke. So here are some rough, instead of Happy Valentine's Day, it's rough, and I put the doggy on a wobble spring, okay? These are just called mini wobble springs, and I'll link to those. They're super cute, and it makes it interactive, because if you were to just put like a vanilla doggy onto very vanilla cardstock, there'd be like no contrast. But when you put it up on a spring and you wobble it, then you have the whole 3D effect going on. So what I have is I have all the materials, and I'll link to them in the description. Stampin' Up, cellophane bags. Okay, we sell cellophane bags. 4 standard Milk-Bone. Okay, let's put these down. 4 standard Milk-Bone dog treats fit in the cellophane bags. Super cute for the doggies. And then I took the doggy punch, which I'm going to show you. I left one doggy left to punch, so I can show you the doggy punch. Okay, and you take, after you've done all your stamping you went with the dogs for that one, and then I added the little, what do we call it, the little spots that I said. Okay, just gonna make sure I can get in at this angle, because this was me using up every scrap of my paper. All right, you get the punch in at the angle that you want, and it made all those little hearts for me. Okay, so the doggy punch is perfect, and it coordinates, and you save 10% when you buy the bundle, meaning you buy the punch with the stamp set, you save 10%. So I'm gonna give it a squeeze. I'm using both hands to squeeze, because these punches are super durable, so I need both hands. So now I got that little heart, and I'll show you how I colored it and made it sort of 3D. So here is my doggy, and then here is my heart. So what I did is I took it, and I first put it on a dimensional. These are our mini Stampin' dimensionals. Okay, so I put the little heart. So stick with me. I'm going to show you how and then I put it on to the topper. I had a topper here to show you. Okay, here it is. I did save one. It's like a cooking show. I saved parts of it. I just want to show you how I made this so it's no mystery. So I already put the doggy biscuits into the bag, and I put the topper on, which is a piece of 2 1/4 by 5-inch cardstock, and scored at 2 1/2. So I will put that dimensions on my blog and on the description of this video. Okay, so then I put the doggy on there. The doggy's on. Let's put the doggy on first before I put the heart. The doggy's on a wobble, meaning he's on a wobble spring. These springs are awesome. You could make them yourself, but boy, I just love buying them because all the work it saves me. And I stick my little doggy on and he wobbles. Of course, I put him on sideways, but it doesn't really matter because you get the idea. Now I'm gonna put this 3D heart. He don't look 3D yet. He's just on a piece of, vanilla onto vanilla cardstock. But when you take your little Wink Estella brush and you brush him, then he's a 3D heart. Yes, you could have colored them. I know I'm going to get comments. Why didn't you color them before you stuck them on there? Well, because then I'd have to wait for them to dry, and I'm afraid I'll mess up the glitter when I put on the sticker and everything else. Okay, but no big deal. And you can erase that off or whatever. So there you go, and you got your little 3D heart. And then I took some Wink Estella and I colored the doggy for this, and I colored the bone, and that's how I made my little doggy Valentines. And I have about 4 or 5 of those to make that I'm going to be sending in a care package. And lastly, for all my crafty friends who have stuck with me this long, well, not lastly, 2 things. I know I have a bookmark here. Okay, here's another. This is a little case. These are you can just stamp pillow boxes to put your doggy treats in. I think I showed that in my other video with the stamping mask tutorial, but I'll be adding some doggies to that. Like I can be adding a dog to that one, and he can wobble. All right, but lastly, here's the bookmark I made using the Friends Forever stamp from the set, and I used the little heart stamp, and I did a 3D heart, and doggy on a wobble, okay, with the spots, with crumb cake, and the same burlap ribbon, okay? So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed these projects, and if you want to learn how to create a stamping mask or use your Brother ScanNCut even further, please check out the videos in the description below, and please subscribe to my channel, The Papered Chef. Happy crafting!